Hello, my name is Mariana Nefodova. I am second-year student of the Kharkiv Polytechnic Institute, and this is my final presentation on the course management too. So for the course project, I decided to consider Puss in Boots' character as a manager. The oldest version of Puss in Boots was written by Giovanni Staropola, an Italian author, and was published in 1550, quite long ago. The version we are most familiar with, however, is the French tale told by Charles Perrault, who published it in 1697. Fun fact that in some translation, the Puss in Boots is called the Master Cat. But I think if to modernize this name, the manager cat fits the best. The tale starts with three sons of a miller who divide up their father's inheritance. The youngest one received only the cat. Even though the third son is skeptical about cat's utility, the manager cat has proved the opposite. The tale is narrated such a way that we don't exactly know if and how the cat made up with the plan, or if it was a pure improvisation and flexible reaction on the resources changes. The adventure of the cat started from working on his image, as we would say now, from his self-branding and SMM. Afterwards, cat, using the resources he already owned, such as hunting skills, catched prey to bribe the king, which he declares as a gift from his master, Marquis de Carabas. By the way, Marquis de Carabas also is the brand that is purely created by the cat. Also, it isn't said directly, but the fact that cat was wearing boots no doubt gave it necessary credibility to gain appointment with royal CEO. So the cat really is master of personal branding. After gained enough of trust from the king, he made the son to go swimming in the place where king and his daughter more likely to come. Such a way the son was given new clothes and captured the fancy of the princess. Then Cat captured the castle for Marquis, tricking orc, and manages labor relation with the orc's serf to obey the fake Marquis. And in finale, with a title, with royal sympathy, fine clothes, land, and servants, and royal wedding, the cat is assured of a livelihood serving a great lord at a palace. So, what are the peculiar for effective manager qualities that has the Puss in Boots? First of all, he is very flexible. Also, he have great communicative and soft skills, great planning skills and risk-taking. He is professional at demand analysis and, of course, it's self-branding. That's why I believe that Puss in Boots is a good example of an effective manager. His project could be named From Peasant Son to Prince. Within this project, the cat have the following task: to develop self-branding, to receive king's mercy by hunting for birds and hunting for rabbits, to arrange king and marquis meeting. He fundraises new clothes for marquis. He made HR planning, which consists of persuading peasants to say those lands belong to Marquis de Carabas. Also, he captured the castle, he welcomed king and marquis in the castle, and as the result of all these successfully completed steps, he really enriched the son of a plain peasant. As we all know, there are four main functions of management, which is planning, organizing, motivating, and controlling. The Puss in Boots performs excellent planning skills since he planned how to get King's mercy. He planned how to introduce peasant son to His Majesty. He must have planned Marquis' meeting with the king. And of course, he planned the bidding of Marquis de Carabas and the princess. He masterly organized the meeting of Marquis, king, and his daughter. But I think that the highest point of Cat's organizational skills was organizing castle and fields property for Marquis. Motivating is also an important element of the story, as from the beginning the son is depressed and absolutely inactive. The kid managed to persuade the son to find him a pair of boots and a hat, and lately to take a swim in the exact time at the exact place that the cat said. Kid motivated son by promising him a better life and prospective future, or as modern HR experts would say, he used material motivators. Also, controlling should never be forgiven. It sees to the right things happen in the right ways and at the right time. The most important was to control that meeting of the king and marquis went right. The cat controlled that the carriage with the king and his daughter went to the right road on the planned spot. He controlled King given Hugh dressed Marquis, and only after Cat made sure that Marquis is invited into King's carriage, he ran away. Open system management. Puss in Boots manages an open system because he continuously is affected by an external environment. An open system consists of three main elements: input, throughput, which is input transformed, and their output. Puss in Boots hunt for birds, receiving them as input, alongside with investing those birds to King. They become an throughput, giving Puss and Marquis a piece of King's mercy. As the output, the King, being pleased by Marquis' Cat's input, gives Marquis new clothes and invites him into his carriage. So we can see that obvious interaction with an external environment. The kid takes resources and information from the external environment. He is dependent from the king. Also, as the open system is adaptive to environmental changes, the kid quickly adapts to the information resource, namely that the king is going to have a trip. So Puss in Boots quickly plans his future activity with accordance with new piece of information. So considering all mentioned above, Puss in Boots manages the open system. Now the contingency approach. I decided to compare Puss in Boots with Matroskin the cat because both characters have common features. First of all, they are two anthropomorphic cats able to speak human languages. Both have managerial talent. They too have sharp and flexible mind, planning skills, and creative thinking. But the main difference is the entrepreneurial ability. Puss in Boots isn't an entrepreneur, but a great worker. To prove this hypothesis, let's think about what happened before the fairy tale starts. He lived at Miller's household. The Miller family, having such a brilliant cat manager, wasn't poor, of course, but wasn't that rich either. I bet this is because Puss in Boots don't care much about wealth. The cat, back then without boots, lived for himself a quiet life of a peasant cat. Perhaps he caught mouses and did not think about how to get rich. Only after receiving the assignment to improve life of the youngest son, he started the project. It is also important to know that Puss in Boots worked on enrichment and social advancement of the youngest son, but not himself. Matroskin the cat is an obvious entrepreneur. Matroskin is very prudent, economic, and thrifty, sometimes to extreme. For example, with the milk of his cow. He once acquired all the containers in the house, including the wash basin, And Puss in Boots gave all the cash to the king, hoping for the long-term investment. The cat Matroskin thinks first of all about his enrichment, and this motivates him to look for treasure, start a cow, and so on. Another important difference is that Matroskin the cat takes a rather material approach, while Puss in Boots is more creative. Therefore, I believe that if Puss in Boots were in Prostokvashino, he would simply catch mouses and sleep, as befits an ordinary cat, until the owner comes to him with a task. Well, if Matroskin turned to be the legacy of the miller's son, I bet he would have gone to look for materials to beat his own meal. Now let's talk about objectives and tasks. So the first objective was to receive King's trust. And to achieve this objective, Cat completed such a task as hunting for birds, hunting for rabbits, and regularly visiting the king. The second object was to introduce Marquis to the king. To complete this objective, Cat persuades Son to go swimming, hide Son clothes, and stop King's carriage. Last but not least, objective is capture the castle and lands for Marquis de Carabas. To achieve this objective, Cat completed following task as persuading peasants to say that lands belong to Marquis de Carabas. Cat ran into castle as fast as possible. He fooled the giant and captured his castle, and all this before the carriage of king and marquis arrived. Now let's talk about values of the character. Puss in Boots have the following values. I think the main value for the cat is his master. And from the story, it feels like serving to the son is like the goal, the main mission of the cat's life. Also, his value is definitely respectfulness. He interacts with his owner and a king, and even with giant, with respect and appreciation. Hardworking. Cat really works hard, with no doubts, with complete dedication to his mission, and he is not afraid to take challenges. And flexibility. Puss in Boots acts very flexible. I can assume that he doesn't have a strict plan, can immediately respond on environmental changes. Now let's talk about interrelatedness of the environment. Two main external factors, to my opinion, are catch of wildfowl and mood of the king. To wheedle the king, Cat brought him a cage of partridges and rabbits. If he had not been lucky to catch a fowl, the king would not let him to go to the castle and would not be kind to Marquis de Carabas. On the other hand, if the king was in bad mood, he would probably not take the gift and perhaps draw the cat away from the castle. So now let's talk about the indirect external environment. To my opinion, the main factor of external environment that indirectly affect the story is economic and political system of the kingdom. Because of the monarchy system and extreme stratification on rich and poor, the son got under the poverty line with no assets for existence. Such an extreme situation forced Cat to act quickly, and having nothing to lose, he acted very resolutely. So I hope my presentation has proved that Puss in Boots really is a great manager. Thank you for attention.